This is the book that I think is the most important read for entrepreneurs in their 20s, I guess is what I'll call this video. Oh, I should have ripped it on camera, shouldn't I? Anyway, Ego is the Enemy. Wait. Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. I've been rereading this book. Actually, on Audible, I just ordered the physical. This is how I do it. I order the Audible, and then I get the physical copy after if I really, really like it. That's what I just did with this. And wow, man, what a read. Highly recommend you pick it up. Link's in the description. It's not an affiliate link. I don't need to make money that way. And I think you'll really like it. I'm going to talk for a second about some key takeaways as I have been going back through this book and rediscovering it, because I actually listened to it for the first time right around when I'd signed my very first marketing consulting client back at like 18 years old, which is the very first business that I started on the internet. And, I think that because I read it, it gave me the humility and sort of the perspective on personal development necessary to have led me to today, where I've now earned over $5 million on the internet at a 70% profit across all the different businesses that I run, which is just a crazy thing to say. And this video is for entrepreneurs. This video is for people who need to have practical tools to get out of their own way. The problem with this book is you don't even know that you need it. That's the problem with the book about ego. That's the problem with the book about your own inflated self-perception. Is that's the devious nature of having an inflated self-perception, is you don't even know that you have one. So you don't even know that you need this book until you begin to read it and it starts to call you out. So some of the key lessons, I'll just say key lesson number one would be this concept that the concept of getting out of your own head, really. Getting out of your own head and getting into the real world. That is something that I personally have a very, very, very hard time with, because, and I think I'd be a lot further in my career, to be honest, if I didn't have this problem, because I'm a thinker and I'm an analyzer. And I'm just an observer, you know what I mean? I'm not much of like a social person. I'm a very introverted individual. I'm happy with myself and a book and a cup of coffee, and I'm good. Like I don't go to events and in-person stuff. I don't really go out much, and I'm just happy working behind my computer and building my businesses. You know what I mean? And in that, there's this trap that I can fall into of like intellectualizing and overanalyzing and coming to conclusions to problems that I don't even have yet, and conclusions that I will forget by the time that I need the conclusion later. And this has been one of the biggest problems that I think that has held me back in my career. I'm very proud of what I've achieved in my career, but I think still held me back. I think I could be much further right now. And the only reason I'm willing to admit that to myself is because the other lesson in this book, and I don't think that he necessarily says this, but I think one of the lessons in this book that I've gathered is, until you accept the work necessary between where you are now and where you would like to be, you aren't worthy of the place that you'd like to be, and you're living in fantasy. So until you begin the process of the work, and more so, humble yourself to the fact that between here and there is a lot of work, you're not worthy of it. And I'm actually in a very blessed position. Like I wrapped up, I'll wrap up 2023 just about $1 million. I did 2022 to $1 million as well. And like I'm in a great spot with my businesses. But I'll be honest, and every entrepreneur faces this, and you have to get there to experience it. It doesn't matter how much money you make, you want growth. So even if you're making, let's say you're at a sales job and you've been making $5,000 to $8,000 a month commission like clockwork for 2 years. There's a part of your soul that, like, even though maybe your old job, you're making $4,000 a month, and now you can double that some months. There's a part of your soul that I think is innate to the human condition that desires progress. And I've been desiring to get to a higher level in my business for a very long time, and I haven't achieved it. And I keep wondering, like, what is wrong with me, the strategy? Is it something? And I really think this book helped me realize it's because I'm not humble. Honestly, I've been around for a long time, and I've seen a lot of people do a lot of things in my specific industry that I serve in, which might not be relevant to you. But in that way, I almost like know a lot, and I've seen a lot, and I've got like a lot of like wisdoms from like having observed a lot of different things. But the truth is, just because I know things doesn't mean I deserve the byproduct of having applied that knowledge to the real world for an extended period of time. Just because I know those things, you know what I mean? And this book is helping me really reconnect with that, which has been a very powerful force, especially coming into now. Got my kid on the way. My wife and I, we got married in 2022, September 22nd, 2022, and we were married over a year, a couple months ago, and we now got our first kid on the way. And I want to build something really meaningful and valuable for my children, my wife, my life, and everything. And what an awesome conclusion it is to come to, that everything that is between where you are now and where you need to be is the elimination of your own perception of feeling inherently deserving of it. And I don't think that he says this, but as I'm reading between the lines, there's a distinction to be made between being deserving of something and being worthy of something, right? It's like worthiness means you can step up to the plate. I think you should feel worthy of your goals. Like if you don't even feel worthy, then you're never going to try. But if you feel innately deserving, that is an ego thing. Like as if it should already be yours by now, which is just silly. You know what I mean? It's just like a silly way to live. And it robs you of real growth as well. And I think that this book is doing an incredible job at reminding me that that is the reality for myself, as hard as it is for me to even admit. Even with some of the people that watch me and like watch my content and stuff, and like, you know, just sitting here, like, you know, contemplating the past year. I turned 24 this week, and I've been just filming a bunch of content because I want to get back into content. And I realized something about myself that I have been, and this is another chapter in here. Where is it? Here it is. It says, don't tell yourself a story. This is one of the chapters. And I realized that I've been kind of sitting on the sidelines of my own life a little bit, kind of telling myself a story of where I should be by now. Does that make sense? And instead of playing that game with myself, I'm inverting the script and saying, I don't deserve, I'm worthy of that, and I'm able to be there. I have absolute full confidence that I can and will. But when you feel innately deserving, like it should be yours by now, kind of this almost like entitlement sort of a thing, it's very, very, very dangerous. And it's honestly like immature. And this book helped me realize that. And this is coming from a guy, by the way, who's sacrificed years of his career and has spent a ton of time working on this thing. And though a million a year sounds great, again, it's that growth that you want. You get not bored, but you start to see people doing really well and you want to be more like them, or like you see people pass you up, or you help people get started and they go further, or if you're around long enough, there becomes like a lot of comparison. And this book talks a lot about that as well. Talks a lot about really running your own journey, right? You know, fighting life at your own pace. And that's been a big theme of mine recently, is just my own pace, my own journey, my own goals, the things that matter to me personally as Trey Cockrum, right? Like not what other people would want for me, not what I think I should want, what's cool to look like I want, but just genuinely who I am, what I want, and getting clear on that. And I think that a lot of human beings actually don't do that, and this book kind of talks about that as well. Talks about that idea that, you know, until you really are clear on what specifically your gift that you can bring to the world is and what you're called to do, almost everything else is just an ego battle. It's a battle against perceptions of other people and what they believe that you should be doing with your time and with your life, or trying to keep up with the Joneses and not look like you're falling behind, or look a certain way. And not that I really am always like that. I think I actually can honestly say that most of the things that I've achieved for myself, because there's no other way to achieve things in my assessment. But I will say that in seasons where I'm the most confused about kind of what the next step is, usually one of the reasons why is because I'm looking at what other people are doing and trying to find how what they're doing fits into what I'm doing, as opposed to just coming up with my own solutions to my own problems in my business and in my life generally, right? So just an awesome book. Highly recommend it. Again, the link is in the description. Would recommend you read it, pick it up, pick a copy up, and just shoot me a message when you do that. Also, I hope you enjoyed the dramatic lighting. So, yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, you guys. More book recommendations to come.